This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. I have received some of the Sims 4 packs for free. Thank you to the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone, Jason Lady here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I think that this might be one of my better lots that I made in a while. I definitely struggled at first. I got that shell built and then I just left it for a couple of weeks. I didn't know how or what or anything. I had like this vague idea in my head of what I wanted to build, but I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know how to take idea and put it in game and make it what I wanted it to be. And so I left it for a couple of weeks and then I came back later and I was like, you know what, just do something. Just start. Just take the first step. I've been struggling a little bit lately, and that's kind of how all of my builds have been going. Just place something down. Just finish one room. Just do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just something. Just get in there and try, even if you place one bed or one refrigerator, just place it, and then if you have to leave, leave and come back later and just keep working at it until you get it. And so I did. I entered in the game and I thought, well, the first thing I want to do is change the roof to something, ruined and rusty and old. And so I did that. And then I tried to put the holes from Life and Death. Is that what that expansion pack is called? I can't remember names of anything anymore, but I put that on there. It didn't work. You need a fairly good sized roof to use those, and this is a tiny little trailer. So ultimately, it ended up not working because I wanted this to be a very small trailer. But that was fine because then I started to get other ideas and I started to see other things like the piles of tires and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I could work with this. I could do something with this. So I sat them out there and then I found the pallets and I'm like, oh, I could probably make something out of that too. So I sat those down there and then one thing led to another, and before I realized it, I was putting together this lot, and it turns out kind of cool in the end, if I do say so myself. It does turn out kind of cool in the end. I like it. It's very challenging lot. It's off the grid. It's grody. It's I can't remember everything I did, but basically you have to grow all your own food. There's no electricity except for what comes from the solar panels. There's no water except what you bring back from like the ponds and stuff, or what you catch in your water collectors. It is a very fun challenge lot. And now that I've built it, it is for my all packs save file because I actually really love the way this lot turned out. I might try it. I might do a challenge with it and see how far we get with it's only for a single person. It's not meant for a family or anything, or even a couple of people. It's really truly set up for a single person living alone. But maybe I'll try it and see how far I get with it and see, because it's definitely gonna be a challenge. I put very much all the things that would create, except for wild foxes. That's the only thing I didn't put on here, and maybe I should. I don't know. Do you think Brindleton Bay would be a place where wild foxes would be? I know where I live, we have them, but I think Brindleton Bay is supposed to be more East Coast, not Great Lakes. I mean, honestly, it does very much remind me of some areas around the Great Lakes, especially areas that are literally on the lakes. But I can also see how it's very reminiscent of the East Coast as well. So I'm not sure they have wild foxes over there, do they? I don't know. Someone tell me down in the comments. But that would be the only like other challenging thing that would be on this lot, especially since there will eventually here be a chicken coop and a mini goat shed. I know the foxes go after the chickens for sure. I don't think they go after the mini goats though. But yeah, you should be able to live completely off the land and stuff on this lot, with the exception of you have to buy your meat from Henford on Bagley or grocery delivery. That's the only thing you can't produce, I guess, in the game. They don't have that. They don't allow that in the game, even if you do have cows or whatever. You can't get meat from them. You know what I'm trying to say here without saying it? Yeah. So you still have to buy your meat and flour. I don't think there's a way to make flour in the game. I don't recall there being a way to make flour in the game, or sugar. So those are the things you would definitely have to buy. Oh, I guess you can make flour out of the insects, can't you? But is that the same flour that can be used in cooking recipes from Cottage Living? You know what? I'm definitely gonna have to play this challenge a lot and see, because I have played some with the farming aspect, but not enough to remember everything really well. So maybe I'll have to play this lot for a while and see. But I'm fairly certain that flour, sugar, and meat are things that you would have to buy even if you had animals. But the idea is literally everything else can come right here from the lot. Eggs from the chicken, milk from the mini goats, and then fruits, vegetables, and herbs from the garden. And the insects are partially to power the generator, and also partially for another potential food source as well. I included the birds and the bunny because, I figured someone living off grid and stuff is going to have a lot of, especially with a huge garden like this lot has, is going to have a lot of wildlife around it. So I wanted to include that wildlife and have it around. There is not really much in the way of heating and cooling. There are a couple of fans that will run if you've built up enough power from the solar panels or the generator. And there are two fireplaces, one in the main room and one in the bedroom. The bathroom has neither. I don't think it will matter as much in the summer staying cool that the bathroom is not cooled. I don't know what it's gonna be like in the winter. I don't know how your Sims are gonna like going to the bathroom in an AC cold bathroom. I kind of wish, I get it because fireplaces don't very efficiently produce heat, so I get it. But in a tiny little trailer like this, I'm pretty sure having two fireplaces would heat that entire trailer up, including the bathroom, and most especially if you kept the doors open all the time. So I kind of wish the fireplaces had a little bit larger of a footprint that they heat up, and that it would go across rooms, because in real life that bathroom would be more than heated with 2 fireplaces in here. In fact, 2 fireplaces in this tiny little trailer would be way too much. It would be boiling hot in here, especially since it's an all metal trailer. It would be boiling hot in here even on the coldest days in winter. But because the way it works in The Sims 4, I had to put 2 in here, at least in the main living area and the bedroom. Otherwise, your Sims would freeze to death in the winter. So, yeah, I'm slightly annoyed by that. But in the end, I work it around so we can fit both. Your Sim here is not going to be able to accommodate guests very well, but chances are they're a loner anyways if they're living this way, and so they don't care about guests all that much. But I'm sure that you could figure out some way to include a second chair. I don't know. There might not be a lot of room in there, but maybe you could figure out how to accommodate a second chair, and then you could have one guest over. Or maybe put some lawn chairs outside and you could have guests over in the summertime, just not the winter. I don't know. I did the best I could, but I wanted it to be a truly, truly tiny little trailer. And so you have to make some sacrifices, especially with the limitations of the game and the heating and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how much landscaping someone living out in the backwoods on a lot like this would do, but I did put a couple of tires by the front door with grass growing through them because I thought it was kind of cute. As far as I know, also, by the way, everything that I used was off-grid stuff with the exception of those fans. The fans, I don't think they are. But again, we have the solar panels and we have the generator. So if you're keeping bugs, you can turn them into biofuel, for the generator, and you can use the generator when the solar panels do not give you enough power. But yeah, I also tried to make sure that the area was well lit up for keeping an eye on the animals. There's also a wash tub and clothesline for doing laundry. I tried to think of everything basically, and then added a bunch of decorative debug items. Okay, so here's the thing about debug items. I don't love adding a lot of debug items. Some of them have weird footprints on them, and your Sims will just walk right through some of them sometimes under certain circumstances. So I don't love using a ton of debug items. I tried to keep the debug items around the edges where your Sims most likely wouldn't be spending a lot of time walking anyways. And as far as the grass goes, I figured, we walk through grass all the time, so it's fine if your Sim walks through it. I know it's long, tall grass, and so there's going to be a lot of clipping and stuff when your Sim walks through it, because that's not how the game is really set up to be. But I figured, again, it'll probably be okay. Mostly. And I did try to keep it in areas where I didn't think the Sims would be walking through that much. So I'm sure it'll be fine. There should not be too many issues with routing and all of that, and the Sims walking through weird areas where they shouldn't. The only other thing that I would worry about is this is a very full lot. It's a very full lot. I went to the max with it. And we've been hearing a lot lately about the save file corruption issue. And one of the things that they found was that if you have heavily decorated lots, and or you have a lot of heavily decorated lots, like they don't seem to know exactly, but if you have a lot of heavily decorated lots, you're probably going to get save file corruption. You are not supposed to have a lot of heavy, full, like massive lots like this that are just filled to the maximum. Like 90% of the squares on this lot are filled with something. And so too many of these lots can cause save file corruption. That would be the only bad thing about a lot like this until they figure all of those issues out. So that's the only thing that I can really see could come to harm from using so many debug items. But anyways, I'm a little tired today, forgive me. I'm having a hard time concentrating on what I'm doing because I'm so exhausted, but we should be just about done here so that we can get through the walkthrough. And you can see it like in first person sim mode. It always bothers me that they don't have water sources for the animals, so I wanted to add little pools in for them. And now we're done, so we can get to the walkthrough finally after I place these two windows. There you go. Okay, so I believe you enter in the lot this way from the tunnel behind me. First thing you have here is the trash can. I really hope that's an outdoor trash can. But the first thing you have here is an outdoor trash can, some trash, your clothesline, and then you see the garden over here with the bug farms, an area to wash your clothes, your solar panels here. It's quite full. And it's not a huge lot, but I think you have lots of space to do everything that you need to do on. Bugs over there, fruits, vegetables, even a few trees here, maybe some herbs. Again, your solar panels, and then over here are your water collectors. And then you have your goat shed here. They even have a little hay bed to sleep on in here. They love the horse beds to sleep on, so they have that. And across from that, you've got your wood storage pile there for your wood stoves inside. You've got your chicken coop area here. Both have water sources. You've got a storage bin for some extra stuff like maybe from the garden or whatever, or your woodworking stuff. And then you have your little trailer here, and you enter in, and it's very tight. Not a lot of room in here for sure. But you've got your kitchen, and it's a pretty good sized kitchen. You've got a full working sink, refrigerator, and stove. You've got your little chair here to relax in at the end of the day. And then you have your bathroom. They do not have a shower that's like this in this sort of style like this, so I used a bathtub instead, but it's fine. You have a shelf here with your necessities. You've got some fish that you hung up on the wall there, and then your bedroom. It has all the things you need, and that's really about it. You have a good view though. The view is really nice except for the highway. But other than that, it's really nice. It is a very small lot, and everything is very small on it. You have your generator over here, by the way, in case you need to use that. But you can really live a full life on this lot and do everything you could need to survive. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I think that's about it. If you enjoyed this speed build, if you think this lot is cool, let me know down in the comments. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.